Okay, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to September 11th team call. Super sad day today, and it's crazy to think, like, almost kind of happy it didn't happen, but we were supposed to fly out today, and I don't know, I would have just gotten extra heebie-jeebies having to fly like across the country on such a day. But I hope you all kind of took some time to, take a second and remember, because it's important. It's a big life event that happened, right? And we won't forget it. So yeah, that was just a little bit of my ramble there, my little moment. And let's get into business talk now. So what I wanted to talk to you about today, like last week we talked about coaching, like, how to promote coaching, and talking about the open house that we're going to be running at the end of the month here. So last week I also kind of helped you break down your month for posting, like, so your first 2 weeks, like, depending when your challenge group starts. So for example, my challenge group starts on the 23rd. So first week, I didn't do, like, last week of September, I didn't do any like invitation posts. I was doing value, like sharing food, like recipe kind of stuff on my page, and like mindset stuff. Like, I didn't do any inviting. Even like now into this week, I'm starting to, but it's been most like giving value. And I've noticed I had a lot of people like commenting on my stuff than before, like a lot of people sharing my stuff, saving my stuff. And that's what you want, because that's what will tell the Instagram algorithm that, like, oh, people like her stuff. Let's show them more of it, or let's show more people her stuff, right? So you want to create, like, in your first week or two of the month, you want to create, like, give value to people, create shareable posts that, like, they can really connect with you. This is where you're building trust, you're building relationship. So right now, going forward though, and like in next week, I'm going to be starting like heavy inviting, talking about my challenge groups. Like yesterday I made a post, and at the bottom I like kind of just snuck in and said, like, if you need help, like, click the link in my bio, drop an emoji below. My next group starts on this day. Today I talked more about like the impact of the team and not doing it alone, and what I do, my routine, So I'm giving them kind of a sneak peek on my page. And then going through this weekend, I'm going to share about how I stay on track while I'm traveling, how this system has helped me stay on track while I'm traveling, how I'm still working my business, how I'm still checking in with my team, like running the boot camp, blah, 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 like how this has helped me. That's what I'm going to really highlight over these next few days while I'm gone, because that's something that so many people struggle with. And then next week, I'm going to be like heavy inviting, like doing transformation posts, inviting on my stories, like saying, if this is something you need, click yes or no, like on this poll, whatever, send me an email, like drop your email here. Like, I'm going to be doing that heavily because my boot camp starts on the 23rd. So starting to look at your month ahead of time will really, really help you take the stress off, because now I already know what I'm focusing on each week. And then once my challenge group starts on the 23rd, I'm going to start talking about coaching, because we have the open house starting on September 30th. So I'm going to be heavy talking about coaching at that point. So right now I'm kind of just like dabbling it in. Maybe I really haven't been doing a lot because I'm focusing on challenge group, because we do have a lot of things that we offer, right? And it can be really hard to be like, oh, what do I talk about? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how do I talk about it all without being too salesy? So planning out the month, looking at it ahead of time, breaking it up. Fact of the matter is, you got to be talking about it. You have to invite, like, you just have to, or otherwise, what the fuck's the point, right? So if you have nothing that you're inviting people to, they don't know they can join you. So don't be surprised when you invite them in a social media message and they don't get what you do. They say no to you because you haven't been showing what you're doing. You don't tell people that they can join you. You don't tell them how it can benefit them. Don't be surprised when they say no to you. That's what it is. That's why our page is our storefront, right? It's like your magazine. That your magazine cover is that post that like kind of draws people in when they see that picture, right? So Instagram is picture based. Does it suck sometimes? Yeah, but it is. So your post has to be eye catching. That's why you got to use filters. Like, that's kind of the way it is. It's just, we know this. So whether you use filters or not, it's just make your photos bright. That's the best advice I can give. Is just make your photos brighter. Focus on that. So it's eye-catching, and then your caption is what draws them in. So your first, like, that's what we're gonna talk about today, is how to make a post, like, to invite to a challenge group, right? So your picture draws them in. So maybe it's a transformation photo. Make it a good one, you know, like where it's bright, like you're kind of wearing the same thing, like not the same thing, but almost the same colors if possible. So like, because sometimes I'll go like a before and after photo. So before photo when I'm like years ago, right? Before I started my journey. And maybe I'm wearing, there's one picture that I always use where I'm wearing blue jeans and a white tank top. So what do? I find a photo, a recent photo, or I take one where I'm wearing like maybe blue workout pants and a white shirt, you know, something like that. So it's still kind of like similar, because that's going to be catching to the eye, and it also helps people to recognize the transformation better. It's less distracting to the eye, so they can actually kind of compare it a little bit better. So yeah, have your photo be eye-catching first. And one thing I'm also going to do when I make my next transformation post is I'm going to do a slideshow where I'm going to add in other photos from the women on our team. And you can do that too, you know, like ask permission. If you go into our coach group, the Team Vibe with Me, or even Team Dreamcatchers, just ask people if they'd be willing to share their transformation photos so that you can share them on their page. We're coaches, you guys. We're comfortable sharing our stuff. So ask and you shall receive. I guarantee you will have so many people, definitely in the Team Dreamcatchers page, willing to share their transformation photos with you. But if you never ask, the answer is always no. And at least what that does is, yeah, they're not your clients, but they're people you know who are getting results with this. They're people who are on your team. So you can say that. You can say, here's my results and the women on my team. That's not a lie. You're not claiming that you helped them get this. You're not claiming that they're your clients or anything. So you're not doing anything wrong. You're still going to give them credit for it. And you're still saying that like they worked for these, they're part of my team, right? Because you can use before and after photos from Beachbody too, but like people want to know that you actually know the people who are getting these results. Because again, they can go to Beachbody Instagram page and see all the transformations there, but they're coming to your page. You want them to connect with you and know that like, you know, the people, like this is actually working for real people. Because raise your hand if you've ever looked at before Beachbody, you've looked at the transformation photos and been like, those can't be real. Because I know I have. And now I actually know the people who are in those transformation photos for like actual Beachbody, right? People from test groups, we are getting to know them. They're part of like, a lot of them are from Team Fit and Funky and stuff like that, right? So like, I know that they're not fake. But your people who are looking in on your page, they might still be thinking that too. So that's why you have to create the environment that it's like your people that you actually know who are getting these results. So number one, get your photo on point, you know, good transformation photo, use other people's transformation photos, but make sure the first photo is you, because you are what draws them in, right? Next is when you're creating your post. So if we're thinking about it as if a magazine cover, what stands out? Those quick little, like, I'm not saying do this, but like how to lose weight in 30, like lose 15 pounds in 30 days, you know, like those spark titles, right? Like things like gossip magazines where it's like, look what this person's doing, you know, like you want to create a spark title in your posts, because when people are scrolling through, so if you were to look at your Instagram right now and you're just scrolling through your feed, you'll see the photo and then maybe like the first 3 sentences of a post, right? So that's where you have to draw people in, is with your first 3 sentences. I'm gonna grab my phone right here so I can use an example. Excuse me. All right, so for example, blah, 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 like I'm gonna use my relationship one is, yo, can I be real with you for a minute? Relationships are hard, and for the past year, mine has been like really hard, ... That's all you see when you look at my post, right? So those 3 sentences has to be what draws people in and what because right there, like that's like a cliffhanger right there. All I said is like, it's been really hard, ... So people are like, well, why has it been hard? My relationship's been hard. Maybe I can, what is she gonna say here, you know? Or also people are really nosy. So maybe they're like, oh my God, are they gonna break up? And they're gonna wanna click for more. So like, that's what you have to think. You have to like, make people want to click for more. And your picture is what draws them in. Your post and like what you write there is what makes them stick. So that's just an example of it right there. What's something else? What's my favorite thing to make? Like, or what was one that I did? I did one while we were at Summit that did really well. Right here. I know the feeling of trying that new diet to make sure you look good before taking a trip, only to fall off the rails while on the trip. ... So like right there, like that's kind of like something that people go, yup, that's me. You know, like, okay, what has she got to say there? Is she going to give me some advice, or like, this sounds like me, like, what can I relate to about it? You know, like, so something that draws people in. And then you want to like, so I was talking to Catherine about this yesterday, and we talked about it last week on the call. I just noticed my hair. When you're making your, okay, we talked about last week for coaching, write down 10 things that you love about coaching, right? And then right there, you have 10 posts about coaching. So do the same thing with your, you know, when you're making a challenge group post with your fitness journey. What are 10 things that have benefited you from being on this journey, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, you know, anything. Maybe it's been that like it's brought new friends to you or something like that. And right there, you have 10 posts to use for the next however long you choose to use them. If you're making 2 posts a week, bam, like that's 5 weeks. That's still a good amount of time. If you're making 1 post a week, that's 10 weeks, you know? So like you're pretty good with that. So that's kind of like what I did today is, so right here, oh, here's a good one. What's the biggest struggle you have with sticking to a new healthy living routine? For me, it was always guessing, ... So that was like, oh, you know, if someone else reading that is like, I always use, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm always guessing on my routine. Let's see what she has to say. You know, they're going to click to read more. And what I talked about in this post was how I have a plan. I no longer have to guess about what to do anymore and struggle with that. And then I also talked about like having support and not having to do it alone. And I added like a slideshow of women on our team, like from us at Summit and stuff like that. So I connected to the community, and I connected the post to like my own personal journey too. So I kind of did a 2-for-1. So think about that. 10 things that 10 things that have benefited you from being a part of, you know, doing this journey so far, being a part of Beachbody, and start to craft a post around that. Even just one of them, start there, you know, and start with like the pain point. So if your pain point is guessing or like not knowing what the fuck to do and struggling with like, or no, here's an example that I always use. That for me, my biggest thing when I was on my journey, like my biggest pain point was that I used to wake up in the morning and I would weigh myself. I would go to bed at night and I would weigh myself. And if I wasn't the same weight in the morning and at night, I would cry. And I would beat myself up and I would talk myself down and how fat I was, how terrible I was, how I failed, how disgusting I was. Like I would beat myself up. That right there, like that's my pain point. So like I would put that as the very first sentence of my post, because that is what is going to draw people in. And because I guarantee you there's a lot of people who can relate to that, right? Or maybe not exactly in the same way, but can relate to stepping on the scale and feeling like shit and really beating themselves down about it when they don't weigh, the number doesn't reflect how they want it, like doesn't look at like what they want it to look like, right? So whatever your 10 benefits are, I want you to think about like who you were like before that benefit, like why you needed that benefit. So attach it to a pain point. So if the benefit is the community that you've gained, what's your pain point? For me, it was the fact that I did not have healthy living friends, you know, like all my friends wanted to do was eat junk food, go out to eat all the time, smoke weed, get high, go to McDonald's, like, you know, eat bad food after that. Or like all I did with my friends was binge eat or binge drink, which caused us to binge eat. So I would start with that and then lead into the fact that like I found a community that has helped me so much because I'm finally surrounding myself with people who are helping me be better instead of like, you know, going the other way or bringing me down, right? And that can be like the middle of your post. is you start with the pain point, then your story of who you were, feel, felt, found, right? So start with the pain point, how you used to feel, and then how you now, like how you felt, how you now feel since you found the solution, right? So that's kind of how you want to think when you're crafting these posts too. And then you're painting yourself as the victor too, right? Like you're giving the solution. So it's not just complete like, oh, this is how my life sucked. It's like, this is how I made it better. And then you're offering to take, like offering your hand out and letting them know that you can help them too. So it's like pain point, feel, felt, found. The solution is that you're offering like, this is what has helped me. I know how much this has helped me, and I know how much it's helped the women I have worked with, the other women on my team, and I just want to help other women feel this good too, you know, like, because I think we all deserve to feel this way, something like that. So that's why I'm opening up 10 spots for my next boot camp starting on this day, so that we can all, you know, use each other, support each other through it, work together through it, and achieve the results that we want. So right there, like there's a post kind of course, I was a little bit scattered as I was talking about it, but like you get the idea, right? So you could do the same thing with binge eating. So this, like how the nutrition plan has helped me with my binge eating, because I no longer do that. Like, or at least I changed my mindset around it where I don't see, I know I have more self-control. And that's because I've learned portion control, right? I've learned portion control from this system, but also I've learned how to like, I've just learned to enjoy the journey a little bit more. I've learned to enjoy eating versus like looking at eating as a way to punish myself. So you can make a post about that. Like I was unhappy in my life, and I would find myself coming home and being too lazy to make dinner. So I would sit at my kitchen table with a jar of peanut butter and a jar of jam while I watched TV, and I wouldn't notice until I looked down that I ate half a jar of both. That's how I knew I had a fucking problem. And then I would start my post from there, right? Like, so it's the spark title. That's what you want to have, the pain point. So when you're writing out those 10 things that are benefits, what was the pain point that got you to search for a solution? That pain point is going to be your spark title. Then you have your feel, felt, found, you know, how you used to feel or how you felt, how you feel now that you found the solution, and then an invite. So you can get this done in 3 paragraphs, you know. First little paragraph is the pain point. Second paragraph is the feel, felt, found. Third paragraph is the invitation. Right there. There's an invitation post, right? And like what Catherine and I advised her to do yesterday, I'm like, write out your post. If you don't feel like, you know, you're sure about it, take a screenshot of it, send it to me. I'll look it over for you guys. And we worked together on her post that she's been writing out. And because she had all the bases of it, but sometimes you just need like fresh eyes, like someone who's going to be reading it, right, from a customer's point of view. Because when you're writing it, it's all in your head, and sometimes it's kind of like, oh, am I saying too much? Am I not saying enough? So it helps to have someone else just look it over and say like, perfect, or like, well, what if you did, like, everything else is great, but how about we just add this in? And boom, done, you know? So like, use me for that. I'm offering that support, so use it, right? Instead of having the analysis paralysis of like, oh, I don't know if I should post this, and then posting nothing, right? So let's work together. Let's do that for the next like couple weeks. Whenever you have your challenge group set, like start talking about it, start putting out those invites. And one thing we talked about, I think I said this on last team call, or if not, I've said it whenever we had our one-on-ones, is any objections you've been getting, make those into posts too, you know? And those don't have to be like invitation posts for those ones. Just use it as like a general kind of like info post. Like if people say they don't have the time to do this, be like, listen. I know we're all busy. Like I know we don't have like, and remember when you're writing these posts, like say it as if you're actually saying it to a person sitting across from you. Like that relationship post, and I was like, yo, relationships are hard. That's exactly how I say it in real life. So I'm going to say it like that in my post, because I want people to feel my voice. I want them to feel that connection without me even having to like physically say a word, right? So write it in your own voice, like you're talking to a friend. turn your objections into posts or even something you're going to talk about on your stories. And if you're not talking about your stories, if you're not talking on your stories, do it. Your stories are the best place for you to create connection with people, for them to really get to hear your voice instead of just see like, this is me, like instead of just seeing videos of you doing your workout and saying like, hey, join me. My next boot camp starts on this day. Like, but why do they want to join you? Why do you want them to join you? Like, what is going to benefit them? So that's what I use talking for when I'm like talking about my boot camp, to say like, if you're someone who has struggled with this, this, and this, I know exactly what you're doing in your post. Feel, felt, found, right? Someone who used to struggle with this, I used to struggle with it too. This is how this group has helped me. This is why I like, all it is when you're talking on your stories is you're just putting a voice to your posts that you're already doing. And it's a way for people to connect with you. And you can use, so what I do when I'm inviting on my stories is I talk a little bit about it. I've kind of been talking a lot on my posts recently, but like that's, or on my Instagram stories, I notice sometimes I've been rambling, but still pay attention to when people drop off. So I'm like, okay, that's how I know I went a little too overboard on that one. Because you'll see like you'll start with like 100, then it goes down like after 3 posts to like 80, 70, da 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 da. So anyways, I talk a little bit about it, you know, like if maybe I am talking about how, like the other day I did just like a little one there because I was sharing the apple like pie loaf that I made, and I also kind of like indirectly talked about Beachbody On Demand and talked about Fixate and talked about how everyone in my boot camp gets that too, you know? So it's not just workouts you get, it's actually a whole access to like cooking show, nutrition plans, and all that stuff. And I was like, I know that really helped me because I never knew what to eat. So now I just go in, this cooking show is here, and it's aligned with my entire nutrition plan. So it tells me like how much of everything to eat, how to track it, and it's made my life so much easier. So right there, like I'm just talking normally, but I'm also kind of like plugging myself in and saying like, this is what you get in my boot camp, you know, like you can say it nonchalantly if you want it to be nonchalantly. Like if you want it to be an actual like active sales post, then treat it like one, because I don't hide away from the fact that we are in sales. Like we can say as much as we want that, oh, we're not selling, we're sharing. Okay, yeah, sure, that's true, but like you're still fucking selling a product, you guys. Like you're still selling you. So you do have to talk about the products that you offer, and you gotta do it, you know? And if not, what are we in this for, right? Like it's cool to helping people is amazing, but the way you help people is by plugging them in with these systems. So yeah, sometimes you do have to put on your coach hat and like be mindful of what you're actually doing when you're running your business, because that's what we are doing. We are running a business, and this is a part of it. Good Life. Don't you see commercials by them? Don't you see like those little boxes that they put in, like fill out for a free week? Like, don't you see people promoting stuff on Instagram, like sponsored posts? Why are we acting any different? We are still just as much as a business as they are. The only thing that differentiates us from them is that they act like it, and sometimes we don't. So we got to do that. We got to put on our business hats. And if you never ask, the answer is always no. So back to talking about stories. When I'm talking about a challenge around my stories, I'll do a little bit of that feel, felt, found. I'll talk about it. And then I'll say, hey, this is for you. If this is something you need right now, I'm opening up my doors to 10 women, blah, blah, blah. And then what I'll do is I have a couple like snapshot photos that I create every month, and I save them, like new ones every month, and I post it. So like there's one that I've done where it was like, what can you expect? It's like a picture of me flexing, and then it's like, what can you expect from joining one of my boot camps? And I add something different. Like, so you have the photo, you type on top, what can you expect from one of my boot camps? Save that photo, and then go to post it again on your story. Like post that one, go to post that story, you add something else, like another paragraph, and it'll say like, looking for women who are sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, who want to learn how to eat better, who want to learn how to feel better, you know, like whatever it is, make it into a couple different like bubbles. And you're just adding on, saving that post that you just added, put it up, adding again. Like I think you guys know what I'm talking about. I've done it before, right? Yeah. So create that, save it, and then you can use it throughout the entire month or those 2 weeks when you're promoting. You can use it every other day or something like that. And again, we get in our heads that we're annoying people, but we're the only ones who sees 100% of our own posts. Stop being so vain and thinking that you have people like searching you like crazy. If you do, awesome. Call them out and be like, girl, I see you watching my stories every single day. Are you just creeping, or like, are you scared to read? Like, I say that to people. I'm like, what are you still watching for? Pretty much. Like, why are you not doing this with me if you're watching all the way to the end of my stories that are way too long for anyone, but you are still watching to the end? So what is it? Like, I even did this last week when I was talking about coaching or something. Was it last week? I don't know. I was talking about coaching, and I did like a long ass fucking story. And at the end, I was like, if you're not one of my coaches already, one of my best friends, or a family member, what are you still doing watching? And why are you not joining me? Like, I said that on my stories. Like, I made a post on it, and it was like, why are you still watching? You know, like, obviously, am I right to assume that you actually care and you're kind of interested? You know, like, I call people out on it because what the fuck are you doing still watching? Like, you're seriously just being a creep. Like, come on, join me already. What the hell? So if you have that kind of confidence, people are going to feel it, and you'll get better response rates that way, instead of being like, oh, you know, I kind of do this thing. I don't know, like, I'm kind of running this group. I don't know when it's going to start, but like, I'm running, it's open, and you can join me too, you know, like, you're going to get people who are like, what? I have no information. I don't understand it. Or if it's like, hey, I'm doing this 100-day program, you should do it too. They're going to be like, okay, cool. But why should I do it? So you have to tell them what it's going to do for them. So that's why it comes down to figuring out who you want to help and how you want to help them, because then you can target it to them. So I target it to women who are sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, who want to learn how to prioritize themselves and drop their excuses, who want to lose 10 to 15 pounds in 30 days, who want to like stop, like learn how to eat better and not binge eat anymore, and like eat like you like yourself so you don't have to struggle anymore with nutrition. Like, that's who I talk to. Not looking for people who are, like, want a quick fix. Like, I say that I'm looking for people who actually want to fucking do this kind of thing, and who want to learn to do this for life. Like, it's not just something you show up for 30 days and like peace out. Like, you're in this for life with me kind of thing. So yeah, so I hope that was helpful for talking about, you know, like challenge groups as we're switching our focus to that going forward. One thing I want to talk about, because Caitlin and I just had our call before this, and what she did, which was really great, is for people who are like kind of questioning it and like curious about it, she let them have a sneak peek into her group. And then one thing I advised with her so one thing she did that was really awesome was she had them sign up with like a free Beachbody account, which is great because if they decide, like, some people can be flakes, you know, and they'll like not talk to you and they'll just go buy something, whatever. If they do that, she's their coach already. So that was a great step to at least get them signed up with you, give them that sneak peek into the group. The one thing I advised her on is next time, hook them up with Clean Week. So you're still going to do that, give them a sneak peek, but they're investing in something, because people are way more likely to actually do something when they put their money into it, right? So when you're just giving them the free sneak peek, they're just looking in and they don't really have a reason to engage or show up, or like they're seeing it, but they're not feeling it. So Clean Week is like a quarter of the price. I think it is $30 US, maybe $40 Canadian. They get 7 days of Shakeology. They get 7 days of workouts with Clean Week. And they get a sample meal plan to go with it. So that's something that I've done where I say to people like, hey, if you can't join right now, like, totally understand. I want to help you where you're at. So I do offer like a 7-day kind of sneak peek into what goes on in my group. And I only give them access for 7 days. If they don't buy it, they get out of the group kind of thing, because you still gotta, because otherwise, why would they buy a challenge pack if you're going to let them stay in the group? you know? So you do have to still be serious about what you offer, because if you're willy-nilly and you're just letting everyone into it for free, you're not going to give them a reason to actually pay you for your services and for your time, right? So Clean Week is great. Because the other thing too is a lot of people say no because of Shakeology, right? They don't know what it tastes like. They don't know it's too much, blah, blah, blah. They don't understand the meal plan that comes with Clean Week isn't exactly, it's not the container system, but it's still something, right? And you can be their coach full on for those 7 days. So they're trying you out for that 7 days too. You're still getting financially compensated for your time, for your efforts, and they're getting a chance to try everything. Because another thing too, a lot of people are intimidated by the at-home workouts. They're like, I don't know if I can do a program for 30 days, 100 days. But it's like, can you at least try and do it for 7 days? And they'll build up that confidence of like, oh my God, I just showed up for myself for 7 days. And it's outside of the Beachbody library. So it's not like they sign up for like Beachbody On Demand or anything when they do it. They just get the 7 days and you're still eligible. Like they're still eligible to sign up for a challenge pack after that too. So I would highly recommend that if like going forward, if you have anyone who has reservations about the price, offer them Clean Week. Because then it's you saying like, I'm not just talking to you to get a big sale out of you. It's also saying like, hey, I want to help you where you're at and I want you to experience this, because I know that when you're just looking at the price of everything, you're looking at pictures of everything, you can't really connect with it. You don't really know how it's going to help you. So I'd love for you to at least try it and then decide after that. Because even when you say like 30-day money back guarantee, you can try the whole bag of Shakeology, maybe people still don't trust that. And it's still the fact that they have to commit to having the bag, shipping it back, doing the return if they don't like it. So at least this way it's like 7 days. It's $40 Canadian. Like what other shit have you spent $40 on? Come on, like it's really nothing. So like level with people and be like, hey, like I know that it's tough. I know it's hard to kind of imagine how this is going to all help you, but I still want to work with you. I support your decision no matter what. I do offer this 7-day trial into like getting a sneak peek. You'll get a sneak peek of my group. You get to try Shakeology. You'll get to do workouts for a week, and you'll get to try a meal plan. So you can really see if this is something that you can do, something that you'll enjoy. We'll get to work on it together for the 7 days. And if you love it, then we can go forward and plug you into my next group and like really dive into this together. So those are kind of my tips for talking about challenge groups going forward as we're getting ready and closer to those dates. I know some of yours are coming up soon as well, whether it's beginning like into October, the end of September, something like that. We're getting almost halfway through the month, so it's time to change that mindset from value to like value, invite, like find that balance in between it from there. Alrighty. So that's all I got for you today. We got a couple more minutes. Does anyone have any questions? Good. Nope, you're really pondering there, Catherine. I don't know. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna take a picture of us here. I am like glossy as fuck, sweaty mess. All right, I will talk to you guys later. So next week, same time, same place. I will be back from Calgary. So I'll be able to jump on the call still. And we'll continue our weekly calls that I've been doing with all you ladies too for the rest of the month of September. If it continues to help you, I'll keep doing it. And yeah, so we'll take a photo, smile, make sure I have my ponytail in there so I look kind of okay. Hang on. I'm like trying to like shrink down and get my head in it. There you go. Okay, good. Otherwise, this looks weird. So I'm like, gotta get something there. Okay, anyways, I'm rambling. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night.